Task D3 of behavior reduction deals with implementing interventions based on modification of antecedents. One of the biggest antecedent interventions we want to make sure of is stimulus control. So stimulus control is when a stimulus reliably exerts control over a response. An antecedent stimulus will typically develop this controlling effect when a response is reinforced more often when the stimulus is present. With stimulus control, there are two different types that we need to make sure that we know about. So the first one is discriminative stimuli, which are typically known as SDs. These signal the availability of reinforcement and evoke a behavior. Okay, so an example would be Joe earns money when he moves boxes at work. Okay, when he goes to work, he knows that he's going to earn money. Therefore, he has the behavior of moving boxes. And S delta signals that reinforcement is not available and could abate the behavior, okay? So an example will be Joe moves boxes at home and does not earn any money because he is not at home. That may prevent him from moving boxes in the future. So next up, I want to quickly talk about motivating operations. So a motivating operation is an event that has two effects. So number one, it has a value altering effect on a consequence. So that can change the value of a consequence, making it more or less reinforcing. And number two, it could have a behavior altering effect that could change the current frequency or likelihood of the behavior that's been reinforced by the consequence in the past. Establishing operations are a type of motivating operation that increases the value of a reinforcer as a consequence. Some examples could be food deprivation, sleep deprivation, and being deprived of a favorite toy. Not having access to these types of items may increase the value of the reinforcer when you eventually get them. Abolishing operations are a type of motivating operation that decreases the value of a reinforcer as a consequence. So these could be the opposite of the establishing operations, such as food consumption decreases the reinforcing effectiveness of food, and such as sufficient sleep and playing with your favorite toy all day. These will decrease the value of the reinforcer. Some antecedent interventions which may alter the motivating operation can be non-contingent reinforcement, environmental enrichment, task modification and demand fading in, high probability request sequence, and providing choices. Non-contingent reinforcement is a time-based schedule of reinforcement that is delivered for free after a set amount of time, regardless of what the person is doing. This is used to decrease the value of a reinforcer. So for example, if I let a student take a break every 30 minutes, the value of escape from work lessens, okay? This can be done for all functions of behavior. For example, for attention, we could talk to the person after a set time interval. For tangible, we could let them play with a toy every half hour or other time interval. Escape, we could let them take a break after class or any other interval. And sensory, they could have a sensory diet or sensory input. Environmental enrichment involves having reinforcers added to your workspace to change the value of those reinforcers. So this acts as an abolishing operation, which will decrease the likelihood of problem behavior occurring. So for example, we can give attention to a student before they are expected to do work and have their undivided attention, which will lessen the need for attention. We can let them play before a work task, which will also decrease that need to play. And we could also have availability of sensory items such as swings, trampolines, or rollers available to them at all times. We could use task modification anytime we are teaching. So some general strategies for task modification include changing the materials used in any program. We could also reduce the effort required to complete the task and then build up that effort over time. We can make the demand more predictable, such as using visual schedules and other types of prompts. We could also change the time of the demand, such as waiting until after lunch to do that demand to make it easier for the client. A high probability request sequence is a technique that involves delivering several high probability requests before giving a low probability request. So for example, the high probability would be touch your head, which is an easy task for the person sometimes. Then the low probability would be to clean their desk, if that is aversive for them. Touching your head would be easier and have a higher probability of doing than cleaning your desk for some students. Using this sequence is a good way to build behavioral momentum. Providing choices allows the learner to choose from different activities and tasks. Either choose which tasks they want to do. So for example, we could pick cleaning room versus sweeping for a task during that time. or they could choose the order of the task, such as using a visual schedule to rearrange what order of tasks they're doing for the day.